Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Thursday, the 16th of November, 2023. I'm Michael Thompson. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about, so let's jump into it. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed down 0.7% today to 7,058 points. It's a pretty ordinary day, really, with 8 of the 11 sectors losing ground. That's despite stronger than expected labour force data that saw another 55,000 jobs created last month, even though the overall unemployment rate did rise slightly. The worst performing sector was the energy companies, largely due to the drop in the oil price. Santos lost 1.9%. Woodside was down 0.8%. The worst of the top 200, though, was AMP. More on that one a little bit later on. Mixed results from the banks. ANZ fell almost 3.3%. NAB was down 1.2%. Westpac was flat, and Commonwealth was up slightly. Good performances from IPH Limited and Lendlease, both up almost 3%. And gaming machine manufacturer Aristocrat Leisure closed up 2.4%. On to story number 2, and inflation in Britain slowed to its lowest level in 2 years, with consumer prices up 4.6% in October from a year earlier. The inflation rate was pulled down by a drop in household energy costs as a price cap set every 3 months by the energy regulator was lowered. Food inflation, which had taken over from energy as the main driver of inflation in recent months, also slowed in October. The figures follow the US print of 3.2% on Wednesday night. Now, if you look at inflation globally, Australia isn't doing so well at the moment. Prices are going backwards in China and rising less fast than Australia in the US, UK, Europe, Canada, Japan, and a whole bunch of countries. Basically, Russia is the only G20 country with a higher rate of inflation right now. Story number 3, the Albanese government is rushing legislation through Parliament to restrict the movement of 84 people in the community. Caught on the back foot a bit by the High Court's decision on indefinite immigration detention and smarting, really, from an attack on Wednesday from opposition leader Peter Dutton over the issues, Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill says that the government will rush through legislation. About 84 people will have new conditions imposed on them, including electronic monitoring of their location, ankle bracelets, a daily curfew, and controls over where they can live and work and who they can associate with. O'Neill said people found to be breaching the new rules would face a return to detention. Story number 4, AMP's share price. I mentioned this one earlier. It tumbled more than 15% today after management gave investors an update, including a decision to target sole traders and very small businesses with a new digital bank. The new division of AMP's retail bank will use technology built by UK neobank Starling, which has captured a 7% share of SME banking in the UK and is now selling its platform to incumbent banks. AMP hopes to launch in the next 18 months. AMP said that its initial focus will be transaction and savings accounts. Lending is going to be added later. They said the opportunity for product innovation was created because the small end of business accounts have really fallen through the gaps at major banks where investment and focus mainly on retail banking apps or the big end of town. The fall in share price also reflected concerns, though, that AMP's net interest margin has dropped. And finally, story number 5, Rio Tinto has dismissed the former head of its aluminium division, Ivan Vella, with immediate effect for not following Rio Tinto's guidance on acceptable management of confidential information. Vella, who spent 2 decades at the mining giant, was scheduled to leave the company in December to become CEO of Australian battery minerals producer IGO. But in an internal email, Rio wrote, "The termination relates to actions that did not follow Rio Tinto's guidance on acceptable management of confidential information." Rio told Reuters that an external investigation has concluded that Ivan failed to maintain the standards expected of him relating to this topic. That's it for the afternoon report for Thursday, the 16th of November 2023. Sean Aylmer and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Friday edition of Fear and Greed Business News. I'm Michael Thompson. Enjoy your evening.